Shaboomin? Shaboppity boop. Oh, there we go. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome. It's After Dark, baby. We're going to make ourselves sexy. And Miss Monkey, she's on the floor here, just staring at me, scratching her belly while making solid eye contact the entire time. And you can see her ear in the corner. Little ear. Well, what a crazy couple of days, huh? The bottom's falling out of crypto. FTX, blink, no longer exists. What's his butt went from being worth $100 billion in January to zero and owing $600 million in loans. Wow. Wow. The election, I was pretty close in my calls where I got Florida entirely wrong. But as far as numbers go, pretty darn close, and how close it was, my prediction. So I feel like Crystal Ball is working pretty well there. The Dems are going to take the Senate. I'm not sure by how many at this point, but I think they'll get 51, 52, somewhere in there. And the House, whoever controls the House is going to control it by 1 or 2 seats. And it's leaning towards Republicans, but there's a bunch of pickups. Like Lauren Boebert, as a shock to everyone, looks like she's going to lose in Colorado. What else, Monkey? Oh, blue chips took a dive. I also predicted on the show yesterday that Elon was going to sell a bunch of Tesla stock in order to help keep Twitter from going insolvent because he has no advertising dollars. And crystal ball again. It was announced that he sold $4 billion in Tesla stock. And he's probably going to be selling more. But goodness gracious. Just so much going on, right? There we go. Shoogity boogity. It's off. Okay. 3 days? 3 days. Okay. Is there anything else to talk about off the top, Monkey? And people are probably going to ask me about a hypothetical stock called Acme, which may or may not exist and may or may not have had another S1 filed today, which is a good sign because if it takes months and months and months to get an S1 approved, and the S1 must have 6 months worth of financial information when it gets submitted, you're going to have to go back and submit the financial information for the months that it took for them to process. So they look like they're adding those 3 months in, plunk, so they have financial information for the last 9 months, and then submitted. So there you go. So let's go to the phones, shall we? Julianne, today was painful, but I picked up a few more GME on discount. Hope tomorrow is a greener day. It might be, but I think the Fed today kind of is like, this is what it's going to be like, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to take our hands off the wheels, or thumbs off the scale, or whatever metaphor you want to use, and you're on your own. Because we saw drops in Apple, we saw drops in Amazon. Meta's falling because they're laying off a bunch of people. Tesla went on the news that Elon sold 4 billion shares. And it did not appear that any plunge protection team, Fed helpers, anyone was doing anything to stop the bleeding. So we might see some crushes. In the FTX deal is going to take out a lot of big companies. Susquehanna lost $25 billion in equity on the deal. And I just ate a couple of donuts, man. They were delicious. And I'm burpy Houston right now. And they could be facing margin. 300,000 or 400,000 crypto accounts got margin called and liquidated. Somewhere between $700 to $1 billion more dollars in liquidations happen in the crypto market. Tether coin, was it Artemis, bought like a third of all the Tether in existence and is sitting on it, which could make a run on the bank if they decide to cash it out. And if anyone tries to cash out more than 3% of Tether at one time, then Tether goes to zero because they only have 3% of the holdings. They have 3 cents in every dollar. $80 billion is missing, and no one can find it. There's some rumors that it's been stashed in a couple of crypto-friendly banks, but that's $80 billion that was essentially hidden from regulators and secretly put into these banks. That doesn't make any sense. That sounds like money laundering. So, if anybody who owns 3% of Tether tries to cash out, then it's run on the bank and the money doesn't exist anymore. And Tether's going to crash. So, a lot of people who are fleeing Coinbase, fleeing FTX, fleeing crypto.com are putting their money into Tether and trying to like stash it places and hoping they can cash out for, you guessed it, fiat currency. And they're just not, they're not going to be able to get any money back. Only 3% of the time, maybe at best, or in total, can cash out. And, you know, that comes out to what? 2.4 billion? Do my math in my head? 2.4 billion? So $2.4 billion are available in Tether. The minute someone tries to do 2.4 in one, it's over. So you want to be one of the first ones to cash out in Tether. You don't want to be holding Tether for the long haul on that one. Okay. Money over Mayo. Any news on Sears? Nothing new. Just that people are talking about that they're going to be issuing a new ticker, or at least new shares or something for those who hold. That's all I know. Scott Paul and crypto dip is nice because new immutable X games at GameStop are expensive to try. Never would have checked it out if BTC or ETH were booming. Yeah. Oh, and the feds captured someone who had stolen 50,000 Bitcoin worth $4 billion. They apparently arrested him last spring with all his hardware, but the hardware is all encrypted, and the feds basically held him and said we aren't going to give you any special treatment until you tell us the addresses to these things or the keys. And finally, he relented and unlocked 50,000 Bitcoin worth $4 billion. How he stole it is pretty amazing. So he opened 9 different accounts on Silk Road and exploited a glaring flaw in Silk Road's programming. So if you guys don't remember what Silk Road was the dark web site where you could like order hitmen, kilos of drugs, illegal weapons, human trafficking. It was just a dark web hellhole. And it dealt all in Bitcoin. And this guy, in like 2012 or something, he opened these 9 different accounts, deposited Bitcoin into their system, and then used some sort of program and requested the Bitcoin back, but like tens of thousands of times in just a matter of minutes. So the computer wasn't able to rectify all its ledgers and just emptied Silk Road into his accounts, and then he walked away with like 51,000 Bitcoin. He only spent 1,000 of those Bitcoin or redeemed 1,000 of those. And eventually he was caught. He took the Bitcoin, spread them out to all these other wallets, and then moved them down a couple of times. But then when he needed cash, he sold Bitcoin. Like you say he had, I don't know, 115 Bitcoin, 115 point blah, 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 blah Bitcoin. He would sell the 115 Bitcoin, and then the blah, 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 blah would go off to a change account. And he managed to accidentally get some sort of account in his, either in his name or attached to his IP address or something, and sold the coins. Some more change went into the exact same account, and they were able to find him via the fact that the change went twice to his account, and they raided him and they arrested him and got all his hardware. So keep your eyes on the GSA website, because that is where the government sells captured crypto from criminals. And the most I've seen on there is like 2-3 Bitcoin at a time. It usually sells for appreciably lower than what the market price is. So the government has to dump 50,000 of them on their website in the near future. I can imagine it going for pennies on the dollar. And like literally you will get like a thumb drive with the crypto on it mailed to you if you buy from them. So keep your eyes on the GSA website for when the Marshal Service posts that stuff. Should be in the next couple of months, be my guess. All right. Patrick Lopez, hey Houston, happy birthday. Can you explain the double slit theory? Okay. So, all right, we're gonna do a little physics lesson because you're asking that. All right, so light is a particle. It is a little photon, a little piece of energy that pops off of an electron when it changes states inside of an atom, whether it absorbs light or gives off light. Electrons are involved. So let's say it gives off light, it emits light, and boom, this photon fires off. And it's a particle. It's one little dot flying the speed of light, and doo-doo, but it has a frequency to it. So it also is also a wave. And that wave has different wavelengths, frequencies, and so on. And what scientists do is they like to see exactly how these particles behave. And so they make a little experiment, and Young's double slit experiment. So they got light from one side and a box that has like 2 slits in it. And they shine the light, and it shines, and the light passes through. And you get these weird interference patterns on the light collector. Those interference patterns will show you where the light gets amplified because the waves come together, or they cancel out, and so on. And you get this interference pattern. You're like, oh, okay. So we know that there's wavelengths, and in the ocean you get these amplitude peaks, and you get lulls and things due to waves colliding with each other. And so like, okay, let's see what happens if we fire light like one at a time. So they fire one at a time through one of the slits, pew, 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 and you just get a collection of light on the other side. Just like you expect. Just get this light passing right through, make it a slit, done, cool. And then it's like, okay, how about, if we got 2 slits, we fire the light, we get the interference pattern. Now let's fire the light one at a time through the slits. One through the top slit, one through the bottom slit. One through the top slit, one through the bottom slit. And like, what we should get, because we're only doing one at a time, we should get 1 bar here, 1 bar there of where the light hits the recorder, and that's it. Well, what they found was there was still interference as if they had bombarded all the light through both slits at the same time. And how can I explain it in a way that I understand it? Cannot. No one knows why that happens. Best physicists in the world scratch their head and they don't know. It makes no sense to them. Every freshman physics course has to do the Young's double slit experiment, and every physics professor asks them, what do you think is going on? And every student goes, huh? Because no one knows. It doesn't make any sense. Young's double slit experiment. All right, here's the wiki. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. All right, so where's a good picture? You guys have a good picture in here somewhere. Give me. Oh, this is showing the interference patterns. Okay, this is showing the light passing through as like planar waves and escapes through the holes, and as it broadcasts outwards, you get these interference patterns where there's certain times it cancels each other out, and other times it amplifies the signal. This is what it looks like on like a photo recorder on a CCD or whatever recording the images. You get these strong bands of interference and amplification. This kind of shows mathematical properties of where you'll get those bands hitting and what it will look like on your recorder. And then show me. Don't you have the one at a time? Do you have one at a time? Maybe it's up here. Did I miss it? Ah, okay. This is showing the one at a time. So if you just blast them through one of the slits, one slits only, you just get one solid bar. But if you start doing one through this one, and then one through that one, and then one through this one, and then one through that one, and then one through this one, you'll start to get an interference pattern anyway. And it doesn't, and no one knows why. They don't. Just like the lights all of a sudden like, well, I should behave like a wave because you're making me act like one. And then that's that. Oh, fuck. I didn't turn the daytime one off. Use the daytime one shorter, right, monkey? Turn the nighttime one off. You tied yourself out in the bone, and now you just. All right, whatever. Whatever. She's in the corner, just dead to the world. Turn off the intro. Okay. Houston's double slow experiment. How many intros can you run, and will they interfere with each other? All right. Scott Paulin, the chess game is fun because of the 5-minute limit. Need to play fast. I don't know. My brain can think fast enough with chess to play fast because I have to like look at the entire board and like do everything in my head, and I still get it wrong anyway. So maybe if I just go off pure instinct, I'll be fine. And Stuart Houston, how wacky are things getting? Did Adam Aaron burn us or Hodl? I'm leaning more towards he's burning us. That little 25% voice that was in my head saying, you know what? Don't trust him. He's going to fuck you over. And trying to force myself for that 25% of the voice, like, no, he's actually going to do it this time. He's going to hold out and wait for Ape to squeeze before he does anything. And we're going to rock and roll. And he fucked us. I would rather be dealing with a board and a CEO who's like actively trying to maximize shareholder value. You know? Like, how hard is that? How hard is it to like do the things that maximize shareholder value? In this market, dealing with the squeeze where you've got a rabid group of cultists surrounding your company and they saved it from the brink through their pure obsession and rabidness, it shouldn't be that hard. And yet, every step of the way just kicks us in the nards. I mean, I bought, my average is like $8, and right now 8 plus AMC is around $8. So I'm gonna hold on to what I have. I haven't added anything since before June of last year. After they sold everything to Murdoch, I was like, no, I'm not participating in that. You don't get more of my money. I'm gonna hold what I got, and that's it. So it either explodes or it doesn't. I'll just ride into the ground at this point because whatever. So that's where I am on that one. For Poorly Stupid, it's been 0 days since Houston, we have a problem, has had a problem. Shiny Shirt Week, by the way. Day one. I was supposed to start Shiny Shirt Week yesterday. Shiny Shirt Week yesterday, and forgot. So Shiny Shirt Week day one begins right now. Get yourself a shiny polo shirt of some kind, some space age plastic polymers, and we will be having a different shiny shirt every day until I run out. And I think I have, I don't know, like 4 weeks worth. So you can see shiny shirts for quite some time. So just get used to it. Shiny shirts are coming. Yeah. Okay. Lost Waves, have you ever watched Kung Fu Panda? It's an epic watch. The sequel's pretty good too. I've actually never seen Kung Fu Panda. All I know is that Jack Black plays a panda who does Kung Fu. And that's what I got. I just realized I still have part of this tattoo that said Bride Tribe on my arm. And it's also shiny. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera. Are you even there? You guys can't see it, can you? Oh, there it is. That's it. It's shiny. It's gold. Now it just says B. And just do it. About puts on BOFA. Hopefully going to print. Are they announcing their earnings? Shit, I should have looked at that. I was going to buy some Bank of America earnings date. So 3652. Earnings announcement. Earnings. I don't see. I think they did their earnings, didn't they? Next one is the 13th of January. I'm definitely gonna be buying puts for that one. Banks are gonna just for show. And Stuart, been trying to find shiny shirts at the thrift store for you. Been coming up empty-handed so far. Shiny shirts are rare. They only appeal to a certain subset of large Samoans and like triads who race Hondas. And that's pretty much the shiny shirt demographic. And maybe some Guy Fieri's in there, and not too many in the shiny shirt world on the men's side at least. Ladies like wearing shiny sequiny stuff, but dudes not so much. So if you find them, I'll take them. But they are few and far between. In my lifetime, I've only managed to collect like 24 or whatever it is that I have. 30, I have no, somewhere in there. Science me, Houston, you and Elon have a lot in common. You both love astrophysics. You both have about 10 babies, different women. Oh my God, you are Elon. One of us knows astrophysics and only donated. I didn't make the babies. I made one of it's like Blue Apron. You order the ingredients and then you cook it at home. I just sent somebody the ingredients and then they cooked it at home. And I got more than 10. I have like 500, I think. I was estimating. It's around 500. So there's a lot of Houstons out there. The lesbians of the world, you're welcome. Where's Baldo? Came from AMC Bigham's right to here. All right, my man. Danny Moots. Hey, Houston. Happy birthday. If we bought and sold stock this year but reinvested profits, will we still have to sell some stock to pay capital gains tax? If you made profit, yes. If you made a little bit of profit, a few $1,000s here and there, then the tax is going to be pretty much negligible. If you made big profit, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, yeah, you're going to have to pay a lot in taxes. So what you would need to do is you would sell, which may trigger more profits for next year as well. And you'd have to pay your taxes that way. You can also donate to charity at a rate that would be equivalent to the capital gains and get yourself a huge tax write-off. That's also a way to do it. That's what a lot of folks do, is they'll do wash sales. Like any stock they're down on, they'll sell just before January and then take that money and donate it to charity. So they get a little bit of loss and then they can donate to charity with the remainder and then start all over again the next year. Marsala. Just for fun, what's your floor and highest number for GME on MOASS? My floor has been 100K when it goes zoom. Yeah, I might make my floor a little lower since we diluted, so maybe 25K when it finally rockets. But my intent is to ladder sell and try to sell each share one at a time, higher for the next one until I get into the millions. And when I feel like the volume is somewhere around what it would take to close enough positions that the buying party would be over, I'd probably sell the rest. Just dump the rest and live out my days on a hammock, scratching monkey butt's head, and going for walks and sitting in some tropical water, and then going to the mountains and going skiing, and then going back to the tropical water, and then going back to the mountains and skiing some more, and then go back to the tropical water. And that's what we're going to do. Stargazer 440, who is, what's its butt? I mean, monkey butt? Destroyer of worlds? You can see her head just poking out beyond her ottoman as she sleeps a heavenly sleep. So deep and unrelenting that I cannot get her to move, and she's dead to the world, which is okay. Where's Baldo 614? I'm almost afraid to ask at this point, what is FTX? FTX is a crypto exchange. It's one of the largest in the world. And they created a crypto coin that has since crashed really hard. And what they did was they do what banks do. They take your money and then they play with it to try and make more money. So they borrowed all of your crypto and use it as collateral to borrow stuff and make other plays. And then they lost it all. And now no one has any other crypto. So they lost $8 billion in crypto, maybe more. And no one's going to get that money back. It's gone. There's a bunch of people on Twitter today crying about how they want a government bailout so they get their crypto back. But they seem to not understand the basics of what a decentralized currency means. It means there's no one to bail you out. If you want to bail out, you have to use fiat currency in an insured bank or credit union. And that money disappears, you get bailed out via your federal insurance. If you are like, government, you're the worst thing in the entire world, I want nothing to do with you, I'm going to play with this fake digital money that you can have nothing to do with because it's mine, it's fake, and it's not fiat. And then I'm going to give it to a bunch of Ponzi scheme libertarians who are going to steal it and do nefarious things, and it's all gone, poof, gone. Oh, government, please come back. Please help me. And the government's like, no. This is a you problem, not a government problem. And oops. That's what happens when you go for the decentralized, non-legal tender route. So, yeah, no one's going to take their fiat currency and bail out your fake money with it. Sorry, they just not. Oops, you're screwed. That's the best that's going to happen from that. Is someone just going, you're screwed. Your money's gone. Michael Harrow, Houston, how many years will Tom Brady extend his career after losing his money in crypto? Yeah, apparently Giselle and Tom Brady took their $650 million fortune and dumped it all in the FTX. Eggs in one basket. And it's gone. I mean, at least Giselle can earn like $20 million a year and Brady can earn $20 million a year so that they can work for 1 year and live comfortably for the rest of their lives. But they aren't going to work for 1 year and be dominant. I really would. So the Seattle Seahawks and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing in Munich, Germany on Sunday at just the butt crack of dawn, like 6 a.m. my time. So I'll have to read the score when I get up. Plus I'm going to a wedding Saturday. I'm not going to be waking up early. I wonder where Tom Brady's head is going to be. Is he going to be out there being like, I just lost $650 million and my wife's divorcing me because I wouldn't quit football. I mean, interception, not crap. Like, are you going to be able to think you lose $650 million? Is your head going to be in the game? I mean, I've never lost $650 million. I don't know what it's like to lose that big a fortune. I mean, the dude from FTX lost $100 billion. So, I mean, that's even more incredible. Jeff Bezos Amazon this time last year was worth 1.8 trillion dollars, is now worth 800 billion. So they've lost $1 trillion in wealth. Meta's almost lost $1 trillion in wealth. They went from 290 to like 1.1 trillion, back down to 290, and now they're laying off 11,000 workers because Zuckerberg is just lighting that company on fire. I don't get it with these dudes. Like, I don't get it. You have a successful idea. That successful idea just needs to be maintained, and then you just get to remain rich for the rest of your life. They go, oh, this successful idea, I must now subvert the dominant paradigm and enter realm no man has ever entered. And the realm they enter is rehashed ideas from 25 years ago involving headgear and role-playing as yourself. Cool. Right? We are going to take our $1 trillion company and we're going to focus on the demanding market of pretending you are at the office. Because that's where everyone wants to live. They want to just always be in the office in their mind, right? I mean, that's what we dream about. That's why I have this office anxiety dreams about forgetting to file a report or, too many customers at work. That's because we just really, truly want to put an Oculus on our head and just be pretending we're at the water cooler avoiding our tasks. No, Mark Zuckerberg, no one wants to pretend like they're at work. For the same reason that in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, no one wanted to pretend like they had to go to the gym and get buff. All they wanted to do was run people over with their cars and blow shit up. They don't want to they want to go to the gym in real life. They want to do pretend gym stuff now. Ugh, so boring. Yeah, so Zuckerberg is just lighting that money on fire. And there's a lot of billionaires just lighting cash on fire for just stupid things. It is just phenomenal to me that so many of them can stray from what made them successful and then go into realms that, no, brah, don't do it. Well, bullions. Houston, you were right on the crypto bubble. MOASS imminent. I think we're getting darn close. I give it a week or 10 days before they full on admit that they have crashed. You want under? Get up there. Get up there. All right, monkey butt. There you go. Don't spin around too much. You're going to toss your blanket off. Just don't step on it. Just spin. Just lay down. You just ruined it. You stepped on your blanket too much. If you're sitting on your blanket, you can't get under your blanket. That is the nature of how blankets work. If you're sitting on it, you can't get under it. So we'll just do that. There we go. Okay, sorry. Bullions. You're right, Houston, on the crypto bubble. MOASS imminent. Yes. I give it like 10 days. Maybe 15. Like 1 to 2 weeks before the bomb just falls out of things. So you ruined it again. You wanted to be under your blanket, not only partially under your blanket. That's okay. You can just look at your adorable little face. Yeah, where? Now the election's over, the news has to focus on something, and it's going to be that construction has stopped, houses aren't selling, no one's applying for mortgages, the ones that are, it's too expensive, that cars are being repossessed, that earnings for companies are crashing, and that, the only way they can mask their failure in earnings is by doing these horrendous stock buybacks. But now they're borrowing tons of money to do the stock buybacks. Interest rates are so high that they aren't actually gaining anything from it. And that the Chinese real estate bubble has collapsed, and that bonds are worth spit, and that Japan is, starting to deflate, and Argentina is over leveraged, and inflation in Turkey is out of control, and just they're gonna start focusing on just how fudged the economy is, and once it gets into the psyche of the average investor, they're gonna go, oh, sell a 401k, and then the federal government's gonna start dumping their holdings from the Fed, and it's gonna go. It's gonna start going now. Andrew Stewart, what's worse, Houston farts or monkey butt farts? I mean, to quote Fat Bastard, everybody loves their own brew. She doesn't fart too much, but when she does, it'll make your teeth hurt. It is just uncompromising. They're few and far between, but when they go, they have bite. Sad Boy Incorporated. Houston, how do I find cheap options to buy? I usually search for cheap prices relative to the company and then search for upcoming catalysts following the work of Jamie Mai and Charlie Ledley. The cheap options are going to be in companies that aren't very volatile. So companies that hold steady for quite a long time, when the delta isn't too crazy, they do all right and they're cheap. And if you know that there's going to be a catalyst coming, you know, like perhaps a bank stock that just holds steady for a while, and you know that they're going to have bad earnings, and you get puts, or there's a company that's holding steady, and you know that they're going to make some sort of announcement, like they just got bought by a major company, or they just landed a huge government contract or something. Then they go, whoa! Then you're okay. With everything else, most stocks that people are going to want to get options in already are volatile, because they know that they can, when the stock goes ding, they can buy puts and it's going to drop again, and they can buy some calls and it's going to rise again. They're going to buy some puts, and it's going to play that cycle up and down. Those options have a lot of delta to them, and they're going to be expensive. So, like right now, GameStop, like hitting around $24, and is just kind of sitting down here, means that the volatility is going to decrease over time the more it sits down there, which means the options are going to get cheaper. And if you know there's no catalyst for a while and you can wait a little bit, that price is going to drop, and then it'd be time to pick up some calls. And when it gets to the point, you're like, all right, you know what? It's pretty cheap right now. I can look pretty far out, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks. I can get some reasonable calls that might go in the money in that time, and let's pull that trigger. And that's kind of what I do. I just wait for it to kind of mellow a little bit before I know the next volatility cycle is going to take off. And that's what you sit on, what you wait on. Girk's not so hot neighbor. Dear Mr. Houston, could you explain how an S1 filing works after the fourth one gets amended and passed? Okay, so the S1 filing has to tick all these boxes. They have to show that they're not going to specifically hurt the investors or the stock itself or the company. They have to justify their reasons to be allowed to take it off the exchange and make it private. And there's certain little rules and languages and things they need to do in that S1 filing for the SEC to go, okay, that's check. You've done everything you can do. We now approve it. But if they get a couple of things wrong, they use the wrong language here and there, the SEC sends it back and says, okay, this section, change the wording. We want it to say something like this. So you have to give us some sort of guarantee it's in that realm, and then resubmit, and then resubmit. And then they go, okay, you did that one, but this one now, it doesn't quite jibe with this clause here. So go back and do that again. So they keep sending it back. And because it's taken 3-ish months, like 115 days so far since certain S1 got filed, they have to show 6 months of financials. And now they've got 3+ more months of financials that have happened since they first filed. So now they've approved all the language in the S1. They just now have to update the financials. And so that's what this fourth filing would be all about, is updating the 9 months of financials rather than just 6 months. So the SEC can go, okay, everything is here. I'm going to file this, stamp it, approved, and then off the races. That's what they're doing. Sad Boy Incorporated, 3 minutes into stream. I like your marketing here. I'm 3 minutes in the stream is where I got to Sad Boy, and I am 36 minutes behind. Woo! Michael O'Hara, what are the chances Giselle ends up with a GME holder post MOASS? Less than 1, but greater than 0? You're going to have to be handsome as well as rich. Let's just say it that way. And, you know. So start hitting the gym, folks. Toma, hello, Houston. Do you see any way hedgies can put up collateral to kick the can further in this bloody market? Nope. I think they are SOL right now. There is nothing booming. Everything's busting. Their side plays on pumping crypto aren't going to work anymore because the crypto market is effed in the A. I think that's it. That's all she wrote, man. Everything is in crash mode now. There might be a couple of little plays here and there that pop, but not everyone's going to be able to get in on it. And for the most part, we are in full-on correction. It's going to drop. And all the news is going to get bad to worse as the days go on. And it won't just be like on page 13 of the paper. It's going to be a full 5-minute segment to open the NBC Nightly News type stuff. So once those last few votes are counted and they no longer have to talk about the election, they're going to talk about how screwed the economy is. And it's just going to start coming. And get ready, folks. This is it. This is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for the bottom to fall out and the Fed to take the thumb off the scale and just let this thing just do what it's going to do. And so, get ready, baby. John B. Houston, have you looked deeply into the tech behind cryptocurrency? I work in tech development. I think it's just another Ponzi. Most of it is another Ponzi. I do think there are some legitimate uses, but some of those legitimate uses get ruined by the fact there's no regulation. And that for so long, a bunch of nobodies were able to get 100-to-1 leverage in their crypto accounts. And then we had a bunch of flash crashes. It took those guys out, which then just snowballed from there as liquidations happened. I honestly think that the blockchain tech that's using cryptocurrency can easily transfer to being used in the market so that we can no longer have naked short sales. Easy peasy. You can see who bought what. You can follow the ledgers, and you can remove some of the anonymity of trading, so you can know, like, oh, these guys are trading the same share back 1,000,000 times on their high frequency trading. Interesting. We know exactly who's doing that now, so we can just ignore them and focus on everyone else. We can do things like that with crypto. The stuff that GME wants to do in their marketplace makes total sense. You want to be able to take trinkets and games or games themselves and blockchain those suckers so they can sell and resale. People can enjoy the same games and you can get little commissions from it. Totally get it. Because GME's entire marketplace for a long time was reselling old games. It was a marketplace. I have an old Nintendo game. I would like to sell this. And they go, okay, I'll pay you 5 cents for it, and then I'll sell it for $30 the next guy. That was their business model. And now they don't need the physical store to do that. They can do it all online. You can take your old Call of Duty, put it up there, and someone else will buy it from you and download it, and you get your $15, and they get their commission and whatever. So there are legit uses for the blockchain on that. Sadly, the main uses for crypto are paying for crime, laundering money, and speculation. And speculation just shit the bed. So we've got paying for crime and money laundering. And those are the two things keeping crypto afloat at where it is right now. Because the speculators have been getting their asses handed to them by liquidations over the past, 8 months, 6 months. And they're toast. They got nothing left. You'll be seeing them working at Starbucks and Chipotle soon. This time last year, a poll was done that 4% of Americans, 4%, 1 in 25 of you, was no longer working because of their crypto gains. 4%. Now, if that 4% did not dump all their crypto at its peak last fall into fiat cash, all 4 of those are going back to work. Why? Because they will not be able to afford the $2,500 a month on their Ferrari. They're not going to be able to afford their $12,000 mortgage. They're not going to be able to afford to send their kids to private school or their wife's club membership or anything else. They are flat broke. So everybody that's in that crypto zone going back to work. We will finally have enough workers in all the kitchens at all the restaurants across America. And finally, restaurants will be able to be open for lunch, be able to open after 9 p.m. 24-hour diners are coming back, man. Nil21981 Houston, will Tether die now? I think someone is carving its headstone right now. In fact, what kind of epitaph they're going to put on there? Here lies Tether. We told you 2 years ago it was a scam. There you go. Michael Ahero, FTX is going to take down a few pro athletes. Yeah, they're also going to lose naming rights on stadiums. They were spending a lot of money. Someone showed the list of Super Bowl advertisers, and like almost all of them are in horrible financial ruin right now. So all those guys that paid money for the Super Bowl this past year are just toast. What? 8-9 months later? Nil 21981 Houston. After a fictitious Acme files final S1, how long could that final approval take? I read somewhere that after the 4th amended filing, it takes about 6 days on average, but can take up to 13 at most. So if it's 6 days, that puts us at what, next Tuesday? If it's 13, it'll be the 22nd of Thanksgiving week. Now, I don't know if like when a company goes private and they do the 15 days, if that's 15 trading days or 15 calendar days. If they do it on the 22nd and then Thursday's Thanksgiving, do they trade on Friday after Thanksgiving? I can't remember if they do trading on the Friday of Thanksgiving. They may. But that gives us pretty damn short period of time to deal with going to the holiday season. Wow. Okay, so I say. All right, go back. Go there. All right. Andrew Stewart, want unregulated currency? You get what you pay for. Ta-da! People talk about the invisible hand of the market. The invisible hand of the market's going to do these things. Oftentimes, the invisible hand of the market is picking your pocket. You just don't see it happening. You go, where's my wallet? Oh, the invisible hand of the market just picked my pocket and it's gone now. And I think that happened with all those crypto bros right now. Beach bum, MOASS before January 2023? If the market crashes the next 2 weeks, I think so. I think so. Jays 22B, hi mate. Ape love from Australia. Big day, hey? Low. Hello, Jays. And Australians, it's afternoon time for you guys. Your early evening. Welcome. Welcome to the Kiwis. Welcome to Australians. The early rising Euros are probably just getting up about now going, oh my goodness. And they're looking at their after hours of the stocks and going, oh, crypto dead. Lost Days, Silk Road movie 2021, a good watch. I have not seen the Silk Road movie. Is it a documentary or is it like a movie about it, about Silk Road? Them dudes all in prison. I mean, the way that guy stole 50,000 Bitcoin, I mean, tip of the hat, my man. The problem was, okay, we're going to go Houston's criminal mastermindery here that I never have the balls to actually do. But if I were to steal 50,000 Bitcoin from a black market criminal organization, what I would do is I would put all that crap onto one key somewhere, in my hard key, I don't know, what, somewhere, just somewhere. And I would go to a nefarious bank known to deal with, dirty people. And I would say, hey, I've got $5 billion in crypto that is ill-gotten gains in Bitcoin. I will sell you that $5 billion in crypto for $1 billion. That's all you do. And then you make it a them problem, right? They're going to go, $5 billion in crypto for $1 billion. We're experts at laundering money for horrible people. We can do this with Bitcoin as well. And they will steal that crap and give you $1 billion and I think twice. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to sit on $5 billion in crypto and piss yourself for years. You want to get rid of that stuff. You want to fence it for 20% of what it's worth and be out. You're still a member of the 3 Comma Club. You can take that $1 billion, play other crypto all you want, who cares, and get out. But if you're just going to sit on $5 billion in crypto, too scared to touch it or use it, go to a shady bank. Go to Cyprus. Go to Deutsche Bank. Go to Credit Suisse. Go to someone who's totally sketchy, HSBC in Mexico. Right? They launder all the money for the cartels. They will gladly give you $1 billion for $5 billion in return. And they'll just tell regulars I didn't know this was a crime. And the regulars go, oh, that's a $1 million fine, young man. And they go, oh no, I had to pay you $1 million. No, please don't make me have this punishment. And then they're just going to go back to their $4.999 billion. Oh, great. Now we're at the double intro zone. Crystal1969yahoo.com. Anyone know what Bigum's feelings are on putting our AMC shares at direct share because Al from Boston says he's ready to go that route? I mean, I don't know. I think it's funny that all the AMC people and all of a sudden dear us after a year and a half of Jimmy folks being dear us, and all I've had is stock price lower that entire time. DRS if you want to DRS. Don't DRS if you don't want to DRS. I don't think it really makes a difference in the end. Julianne, double his intro. This is why I stay up late for Houston After Dark. I'm glad that the 30 seconds of me face palming myself to death is what gets you off there, Julianne. And then Bill Scripps says, did you get off, Julianne? Crystal1969yahoo.com. Adam Aaron mentioned direct share in the earnings call like he was saying we should go direct share. Do it if you want to. Don't do it if you don't want to. I honestly don't think it really makes a difference. BJK031. Houston, what do you think the chances of AMOC shutting down are with the climate change? And would that make Maine even colder than it is now? I talk about the Gulf Stream? The Atlantic, whatever jigger current. Maine and the Northeast will get freezing. Europe will get really cold. Let's go to the map. Okay. Google Earth turned off. Turn off the Chrome. Turn on Google Earth. There we go. Okay. We've talked about the jet stream before, or the Gulf current. So what you have is this chunk of water right here, which gets a whole bunch of direct sunlight for 9 months of the year and is very, 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 very warm and tropical. This water is 90 degrees and it's got to go somewhere. It heats up. The cold water will push the warm water out of the way, and the warm water is going to go somewhere. And what happens is it rushes through the straits between Cuba and Miami. And you can see here the force of that water has created canyons on the ocean floor because there's just a constant current happening here, and it's just pushing. And it's made deep currents that go all the way up the Atlantic coast and out into the ocean, up the continental shelf here. It brings with it water that is insanely warm for the latitudes which it touches, and allows for, it goes all the way North Atlantic. It allows for Iceland to be largely snow-free most of the year. Like, they call it Iceland, but really it's, it's pretty fairly temperate, really. I mean, it's a lot of rain in the fall and winter, snow every once in a while. It allows the UK, which is really far north. We're at 50 degrees north here in the southern tip of UK, which has palm trees. There's palm trees here. This whole area should be just frigid during the winter, because I mean, look at where Ireland is at 53 degrees north. If you look at North America and you go to 53 degrees north, you are all the way up in like the middle of Canada. This is where Edmonton is. Edmonton is at the same latitude as Ireland. At Edmonton in the winter, I wouldn't wish that on your enemy. It is like minus 40, just awful cold and brutal. And that sucks. But you get to Ireland, and Ireland is like, it pisses rain and it's windy and whatnot, but it's not a very cold place. And it's because that warm water brought by the jet stream keeps it somewhat temperate. It keeps Norway temperate. It keeps Denmark temperate. It keeps Netherlands temperate. These places would be frozen hellholes on par with Siberia if it wasn't for the jet stream. So if the jet stream shuts down, and how the jet stream would shut down is essentially Greenland melts. You have 650,000 square miles of ice, a mile and a half thick, and it melts into the ocean, and it's fresh water, right? Salt water is dense, fresh water isn't very dense. The fresh water floats on top. And so now the super warm currents that come out of the Gulf and make their way up the Atlantic to go into the Arctic and freeze, now are buried underneath the super cold 33-degree water from the melt-off of Greenland. And it shuts down all of the temperate weather systems and keeps the ocean from mitigating what should be really cold, harsh air. And it plunges the northern Atlantic into essentially an ice age. So all of these folks freeze, they can't grow crops, and they all die as a result of Greenland melting, plunging it into the ocean, and then the Gulf Stream goes underneath that fresh water and disappears up into the Arctic. It will be miserable. And we've already seen some signs of that happening, of big melts causing a bunch of the current to dive underneath the surface. And we've seen it happen a couple of times, and they're worried that there's going to be a big melt-off one summer, and it's just going to dump a whole bunch of that fresh water up here. And then the Gulf Stream will just vanish. So, yeah, it'll be brutal. Westwind, where did all the billions go from crypto crash? Buyer, seller, who bought? It's gone. I mean, there are people who made out. They sold and they got out, and more power to them. Now imagine you got a neighborhood, right? You have a neighborhood. Some of the people in the neighborhood, they bought in when it was cheap, like 20, 30 years ago. They bought a house for $100,000, right? And then the last 5-10 years, some new folks are coming in. They're spending $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, $1 million on these new homes, right? They're spending cash. They're buying homes in that same neighborhood that sold for $100,000 30 years ago. They're spending $1 million on it. The banks go, thank you for the money, or the old homeowners or whatever. They sold and they got out. Now, the people who bought at $100,000, on paper, their home is worth $1 million, right? So they go, oh, I'm a millionaire. Why? Because all these homes around me are selling for $1 million. Woohoo! And then a market crash happens, and all those homes drop back down to $100,000, right? Now, these guys, they never spent $1 million. They're briefly worth $1 million, and they're back to where they started. So no harm done. You're back to like, it's crypto. You're back to like 2018 or something. And these guys who spent $1 million lost $900,000. The only person who won in this situation are the few that sold in that neighborhood when the prices were climbing. Everyone else, the value is just poof, gone. That's it. Nothing more. So there's a few that make out and not many that do. The problem is that a lot of the folks who made out, they sold crypto and then they bought back in again. They went, I made my $1 million. I'm going to take my $1 million. I'm going to buy this crypto now. And that crypto went, and they just lost it all. So there's someone else out there who sold. I think the ones who made out like a bandit are Tether. Those folks made out like a bandit. And they had the most genius scam out of them all, because what they did was they created a blockchain. It's a blockchain that can be edited by them. And they say, okay, we're going to print, how about we print $1 billion this week? And they talk to their friends, $1 billion? Yeah, we're going to print $1 billion. And they can do a couple things with it. They can sell each one of those little blockchain Tether coins for $1 each, right? And blocks of thousands or millions or how many people are going to buy them. And then supposedly they take the cash from that and they put that into an account that will earn some interest. And when people need that money back, they go, here you go, here's your money back. Oftentimes what they did is they said, hey, we're going to print $1 billion in Tether. We're going to give it to ourselves. And then we're going to go out and buy $1 billion in Bitcoin. And there's going to be no cash backing it up whatsoever. So they went out and they just bought. They said, okay, I just made all this Tether. It's worth $1 because we said it's worth $1. And we're going to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin with that. Thank you very much. Here's your Tether. There's no cash behind it. No, I've got your Bitcoin. And it was fake. They printed money. They got something that's worth something, according to the market, and they took it back. And they gave them this thing that's not worth anything in return. And that's where I think a lot of the Tether dollars went. They apparently would print $15 billion in Tether and just send it randomly to crypto.com to trade or sell or do whatever they wanted with it, or to Coinbase. And there was no cash backing it up whatsoever. It was fake. It was essentially counterfeiting dollars, except it wasn't dollars. It was a Tether. So if you want to be a counterfeiting star, you should have started 6 years ago making Tether coin, because you can make up as much as you want. And because the algorithm forces it to be worth $1, it's always worth $1. You will notice that every single solitary crypto scheme, everyone talks about, we're getting rid of fiat currency, man. It's old school. Every scheme in crypto was to trade you a worthless 1 and 0 for dollars. That was it. They're like, yes, crypto is going to replace fiat. Now give me all your fiat and I will give you crypto. And they go, thank you, you dumb motherfucker. Peace. And then they took your money. And now you have 1s and 0s on a overly complicated crypto wallet. And you bought some monkey pictures with it that are also not worth nothing. and you got to drive a cool car for a while. Not many people get to do that. It's going to get repoed, but you got to drive a cool car for a while. So, you got to go have a tech bro party in Vegas and go to some strip clubs, and you had to live the high life for a few years. So don't be too sad. Not many people get to do that, and you got to do it. So, you're on top of the world for a while. You're like an athlete who got a huge signing bonus, played a great season, then blew out their ACL, and they got cut from the team, and their contract wasn't guaranteed. They had a great time while it lasted. So, you do have glory days to look forward to. You can revel in those while you, scrub pans in a kitchen somewhere. I used to be somebody. Nate Barber, the Canaries are extinct at this point. Scott Lumley, legend says that if we ever get a double quadruple intro, that means a MOASS is imminent. Didn't I accidentally give you guys a quadruple intro the other day? I played the wrong one, and then I played the right one, and then I accidentally played the double play. I think you guys got 4 of them on that day. And I'll be honest, I made the mistake of also saying that if you super chat $20 and say intro, I'll play the intro. And that I should have made it more expensive than that. I should have said like $100 or something, and then you can play the intro as many times as you want. But you guys did it a lot, and I had to play the intro a lot. So, good for you. Aaron T, early EU riser. Always happy to wake up seeing you stream. It means I have something to look forward to as I eat my breakfast. All right. As you eat your beans on toast, right? And not delicious, something sugary. And I love myself a sugary breakfast. I had, last day in Vegas, we went to the Venetian. We ate at a restaurant. What was the restaurant called? It was a Mexican restaurant of some kind that had a brunch. And it was the 3rd best French toast I've ever had in my life. It was worth it. It was very much worth it. First best French toast I ever had was the Edgewater Hotel in Seattle. I flew back from an international flight. I got in at like midnight, and I teach an 8 a.m. class, so I got a hotel right across the street from where I was teaching and had breakfast there, and it was extremely expensive, and it was the most delicious French toast I've ever had. Second best French toast is Millie's in Los Angeles, near where my sister used to live in Silver Lake. I would eat there like every day. It was cheap and it was delicious. And this place in, what was it called? Like, how was it called? Javier's. It was crap. It was like some dude's name. It's in the Venetian, right at the beginning of the restaurant row that they have there. And also just insanely good looking people working in that restaurant. Holy smokes. I don't think that human beings collectively could look that good as a group of like 10 individuals, but they managed to do it. And they charged me $50 for breakfast, and it was worth it. It was delicious French toast. Okay. What was it talking about? Oh yeah, you're talking about eating your beans and toast. Okay, Houston, estimate for CPI. I say we stay at the 8.2 zone because the housing prices aren't falling off super fast yet, and gas prices are starting to rise a little bit. I say we get the CPI for November, probably 8.1, 8.2. So I think we're still up there. Lost waves, Houston was FTX attacked. From what I understand, there was a working relationship between Binance and FTX, and the dude who runs FTX was that dude Bank Frond or whatever his name is. He badmouthed Binance to some other people, kind of publicly, and Binance said, "We're pulling out," and that crashed everything. They sold like $1 trillion of the FXX coin or whatever it is, or FTT coin, and that wiped out everything. It forced all these liquidations and margin calls across the board, and just cleaned out everything that was in there, and they had nothing left. That was it. And then the guy from Binance just kind of toyed with them yesterday and said, "Oh, maybe we'll bail you out. Maybe we'll buy you." And no, we're not going to. And they went from $25 billion market valuation down to $1. Bloomberg estimated the value of FTX was $1 today. Oops. It's not good for GameStop because GameStop made some sort of working relationship agreement with FTX. So I guess they're out of that now. They don't have to worry about that. They can go find another suitor for their whole thing because FTX doesn't exist anymore. So GameStop got a little setback there. And I guess Jamie and Rocky, they both said it was bad news that GameStop shouldn't have partnered with them, and I should have paid attention when they were saying it. I wasn't, and good call on your part, guys. crystal balled that sucker. Must have lent them my crystal ball for a day. Gregory Prince, the S1 will be approved by the grand opening on November 17th. Book it. When is the 17th? Today's the 9th. 17th is next Thursday. Noted. Okay. Oops. Yeah. All right, people having a little conversation here. Got to scroll past them, and then the chat resets. So let me figure out where was that conversation that I was trying to scroll past. There we go. Okay. Kelly Reed, Houston, you ready to go down as a legend once MOASS happens? This movement will be in the history books for years to come. Also hopeful in there being reform after the crisis. I think we may actually get a little reform coming this month. I have a feeling that the SEC, Gary Gensler and company, are going to dip some toes in the water with some reform. I don't think it's going to be quite as expansive as we want, but they may either shut down payment for order flow and or dark pools. So we might get a little reform ahead of time. Just kind of them like nudging and saying, guys, more's coming when this all collapses. When it all does collapse, then you will have committee hearings in the Senate and the House. You will have, investigations. You will have the DOJ arresting people, the FTC arresting people, SEC leveling fines. You're going to have all these independent investigations. And what they're going to do, these investigations, is they're going to essentially read back the DD that everyone's been doing for the last 2 years before Congress and be like, these are all the problems that there are. And you and I will have written and talked about all that stuff this entire time. So we know exactly what they're going to say at those committee hearings. They're going to say things like, it turns out that they've been violating the spirit of Reg Show and selling a whole bunch of shares that don't exist and collapsing all these companies. And that all these corporations, to keep themselves from being shorted out of existence, have to do giant stock buybacks rather than invest into R&D and, improving employees and maintaining facilities and new products and whatnot. They instead had to do stock buybacks to keep their stock price afloat so that their CEOs could make their bonus targets. And they're going to talk about how, the margin got out of control. They limited the amount of margin banks could have after the 2008 financial crisis, but they didn't limit the amount of margin banks could give others. And that got out of control basically right about when COVID hit. 2020, it just started to skyrocket. It went just parabolic. And they're going to talk about how everything's over leveraged. They're going to talk about these swap markets, the derivatives markets. They're going to talk about the naked shorting. They're going to talk about high frequency trading, manipulating stock prices. They're going to talk about the payment for order flow not being in the consumer's best interest. They're going to talk about dark pools and hiding the actual price of stocks by routing things to the dark pool so you don't actually get to see what the price is of this stuff. They're going to talk about the superpowers market makers have and how they can print an unlimited amount of stocks and sell their counterfeit stocks with no intention of ever providing the real thing. They're going to talk about the big index funds getting into housing and buying just like millions of houses and manipulating that market. They're going to get into all of it. And I think we're going to see little rules get proposed either by the government, by the Congress, or by regulators that will then try to close some of these loopholes. But most of that's not going to happen until everything goes. And sadly, we're just going to have to sit here and we're going to be like, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. I know. We know that already. None of this is new. You left that thing out. You should have talked about that. But in the end, hopefully, we will actually get some decent regulations happening. Okay. Lost Days. Houston, did you catch the wild car chase in SoCal today? The guy carjacked 2 vehicles live on TV, GTA. I have not seen it. Unlike Southern California, which loves to pause all their programming and then follow a good car chase, we don't do that up here. So California's like, oh boy, car chase is happening. Yeah. And everyone just stops and watches the car chase on TV. We don't get to watch your car chases. So I'll have to wait until somebody posts it on the internet and then I'll get to watch it. But man, you guys have some good car chases. And the thing is that you've got ghetto birds everywhere. There's no way anyone's ever getting away with a car chase in California because you have helicopters that can fly 200 miles an hour following all the action. Plus, you've got the news helicopters that are following all the action. Everyone's following the action. You aren't going to be able to get away. It's much better to get into a high-speed car chase out in the middle of nowhere and cross them county lines, and then the sheriff goes, ah, shit. Tom R. in Houston, in one of the last streams, a viewer mentioned that No Labs is not as innovative as he described it. Any updates on it? Does it have competition? There's a couple others out there that are working on non-invasive glucose monitors, but No Labs is the only one doing human trials right now. So they're ahead of everybody. Them not being as innovative as described, I mean, I can't talk in detail about the technology because I signed an NDA, but it is freakishly revolutionary. I mean, literally, you can point it at something and it could tell you what viruses are in that person's body, if they've got cancer cells in there, what metal toxicity they could have, where infections are, because you can tune it to the specific residency of all those different molecules. And you know, as a prospector, you can point at a rock outcrop and it can tell you what the levels of concentration of minerals are. You could be a super secret spy plane flying above Iran, looking at a deep bunker, and with a powerful enough antenna, it could tell you if there are radioactive materials or chemical weapons in any of those bunkers. The technology is friggin' rad. And the entire reason they're going for the glucose monitor is that it's guaranteed like $20 to $30 billion a year when it gets approved. And that cash will allow them to then further develop the technology for all sorts of other aspects that can be used across the planet. It is really cool tech. So they're just waiting. It's a slow process to get the FDA approval, and it's just going to take time. And I think that they're going to be the first ones to get approved out of all the competition. And you know, I don't know what the tech is behind the other companies that are doing it. Like I don't know what the Acme tech is, or that French company that's working on it as well. I know they're out there. I don't know if it's similar, but the patents for the type that No Labs is doing is granted to No Labs, so theirs can't be related to what No Labs is doing. So yeah, they're I think the fact that they moved to the Nasdaq was like our human trials are going really well, and we're going to move on to now a manufacturable device and test that, because right now they're testing these like chips that are about yay. They need to get it down into something that fits in like a watch band, like a Fitbit type thing, and that's where they're headed for. Andrew Wang, Houston. Hey, man. I'm not sure if you're familiar with MicroStrategy, MSTR, but they took a huge Bitcoin loan back in January at 60K, and their stock plummeted 20%, bankruptcy imminent. No, I don't know who Microstrategy is, but holy smokes, sounds like they are the company version of El Salvador. If you could short El Salvador, it'd be a great time to short El Salvador. I'm not sure if you can get credit default swaps on their bonds, but El Salvador is borrowing at 20%, and they bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin once at 60K and at 40K and at 30K. And they're like, we bought Bitcoin, we bought $20 million of Bitcoin at 30K. Buy the dip, baby. And now it's worth half of what it was, and they're paying 20% interest on that. The crypto bro that's running El Salvador just absolutely killed all the finances of that country. Oops. They are going to be just toast. So, it sounds like MicroStrategy's did a macro strategic blunder. Avocados. Oh, I didn't get the notice in time. I'm sorry, bud. Listen to it when, you got time tomorrow. Wanto. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Ghostbusters is so good. Crystal, where's the fiat cash go that people use to buy crypto? Someone's pocket. Someone is getting cash out of this. My guess is the Tether guys. The Tether guys getting most of that cash. There was a period of time where 80% of Bitcoin trades were done using Tether. So that meant folks were buying Tether. They're giving cash to Tether at a 1-to-1 ratio. And then they take their Tether coin and they buy Bitcoin with it. And the Tether coin goes somewhere out there. But the Tether guys got $80 billion in cash that way. So they're fine. Especially if they just kind of walk off in the sunset and just let you guys deal with the aftermath. To this day, no one knows who owns Tether. There's a couple of spokespeople and there's some lawyers, but no one knows who created it and no one knows who owns it. They know that there's a bank account in the British Virgin Islands, and that's about it. Federal regulators have no clue who is specifically behind Tethercoin. So take that into consideration. That someone out there has managed to take $80 billion in cash and we don't even know their name. That is just... Want to talk about legendary? That is a legendary criminal right there. That is somebody who is probably just traveling the world on their yacht going, you thought you'd get the best of me, Mr. Bond, but not this time. Good job. If you're going to be a criminal and you're going to make the biggest crime in human history, all I can do is just go, I don't have the balls to do something like that. So if I didn't have a conscience and I had like huevos the size of, well, whoever was behind Tethercoin, man, I would be in jail by now because I'd fuck up so bad. When is T90 for Ape? I think it's the 22nd. Although people keep yelling at me and saying that it's not calendar days, it's trading days, which puts it in like January. But I think it's 22nd. If it's calendar days, it's 22nd. Yeah. Daphne Houston, can you remind me of what the potential for a GME squeeze would or could be at this juncture? I mean, we've been sitting on the potential this entire time, and we've seen it like hiccup pretty healthily along the way. And it's the story I've been telling this whole time. Short hedge funds, they got a bunch of bonds and blue chips. Their customers, their clients, pay them millions of dollars to make them money. And so they take those millions of dollars, they buy bonds, and they buy blue chip stocks, and they put that into a package of assets under management, their collateral. And they use that as the foundation, the collateral for their margin. And their margin is this huge 30-to-1 borrowed chunk of money they get from banks and prime brokers. And then they make plays with it. So you take all this borrowed money that you're like, okay, I got this assets, give me some money. And they're like, okay, we're going to give you all this money you can play with. And you go out and you borrow stock and you sell it and you create fake stock and you sell it. And you short companies and you short them 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 and you short them. And the whole goal is to get the price go blah, 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 blah. And then all the money made shorting you collect as winnings. And then you get 2% of each year as a manager and 20% of every time you make a play that gets a win. And the rest of it goes to your customers who invested with you. Now, it's worked for 30 years. You can short ever since we got these modern hedge funds and the fast system discovery they could do naked shorting on the fast system back in the 90s. And these guys are like, free money all day, every day. You can't go wrong with a hedge fund. We are kings of the world. We're awesome. We live in the Hamptons. We live in Palm Beach. We live in the Bahamas. We live in the Caymans. We're having a great time. Go to the World Economic Forum. We finance movies. We date supermodels. We're having a great time. But right now, those assets, that chunk of assets they have, they're the assets under management, they're their bonds, that are their blue chip stocks, is shrinking really, really fast. So the 30-to-1 margin that they had could be extending, could be going to 40-to-1, 50-to-1, because they have all these outstanding obligations, right? These liabilities from all those stocks they shorted that they're going to owe back if the price of those stocks go up. And if it's too big compared to those assets under management they have, then that's it. The prime broker goes, I'm sorry, man, you're losing us a buttload of money and we got to stop it before it gets worse. And we're selling those assets you have. And they dump those assets in the market, which causes a glut of the securities, which causes the price to drop even more, which means that the bank can only pay off like this top little layer of their liabilities. Then the bank, let's call them Credit Suisse, all of a sudden has to take billions of dollars in liabilities. And they're like, shit, I have to go out and I've got to close all these positions. And I'm a bank, I only have this much money and I've got this much liability. I can't do it. I don't have enough money. So they have a little meeting. They meet with their Swiss central bank. The Swiss central bank meets with the Federal Reserve, the American central bank, and goes, okay, Credit Suisse, they have $500 billion in assets, or $300 billion, whatever it is. There's a whole bunch of assets. But they only have like $1 billion in cash, and they've got like $200 trillion in liabilities. So we don't quite have the population, the tax base, the printing capacity to do anything about this, American Federal Reserve. Can you help? And if American Federal Reserve says, okay, if Credit Suisse doesn't have the cash to take care of this, then Credit Suisse dies. And if Credit Suisse dies, then every single solitary rich person, investment bank, family fund, investment into a chemical plant or a car manufacturer, whatever that they've got tinkered with, collapses with it. And they're gone, blink. There goes a significant proportion of the global economy in one bank failure. And if those fail, then all these other banks are going to fail along with it. They're tied into those investments. And so what the Federal Reserve appears to have done is they've done some sort of weird debt swap / currency trade or something with this Swiss central bank that I think is slowly or tinily keeping Credit Suisse afloat for now while they figure out how to decouple the commercial bank from the investment bank, and then they can deal with the liabilities involved with the investment bank so not everything collapses. At least the rich people at the commercial bank can keep their money, but everyone who's tied into the investment bank, they might be totally screwed. And you're also seeing other investment banks like Goldman Sachs doing the same thing. Goldman Sachs is splitting their bank up into 3 different sections, and they're probably going to set adrift all their bad derivatives stuff into one of those guys and be like, well, smooth sailing. See you later, old man on the ice floe. Runk. You are no longer part of this village. So we're now down to they got to close these obligations. They may have gotten some Federal Reserve notes or something to help, keep them from having to like dip into their clients' accounts. And they made an announcement. They said, "Hey, we're going to have to close some of these short positions, so get ready." And when they do, they're going to be buying up Discovery. They're going to be buying up AMC. They're going to be buying up GME. They're going to be buying up Bed Bath and Beyond. They're going to be buying up a shitload of these shorted stocks to close out those positions. And this just represents one pile of liability from one middle-sized family fund known as Archegos. Now, if Credit Suisse actually starts closing out these shorts and the price spikes on a lot of these shorted stocks, while bonds are crashing, having their worst year since 1788, and while blue chips are crashing 30-40% like they have since November of last year, and the price of those shorted stocks skyrockets, which takes the liabilities that all these other short hedge funds and family funds have and just shoots them off into infinity compared to their ever shrinking assets under management, then they all implode. Every single one of them can't meet margin. Every single one of them gets vaporized out of existence. And you're looking at probably a bloodbath of 4,000 or 5,000 family funds and hedge funds ceasing to exist. And that is what we're waiting for. And that is what I think the clock is now ticking 10 to 15 days until the market starts crashing so hard that people can no longer fudge the numbers and juke the stats, and it is over. The November bloodbath will probably begin by Thanksgiving, maybe? We're starting to see the layoffs. We're starting to see the layoffs across the board. Tech companies, manufacturers. The jobs market's going to start to reflect these layoffs, and it's going to look pretty bad. John B. Thanks for being you. Well, thank you. Is that it's a pickleball? Oh no, it's got a mirror. I thought it was a pickleball player because it's got the headband. Thank you, John B. Deck P. Is there a marketplace for debt swaps or a bros club? Happy birthday. There is a marketplace, but for the most part, you and I don't get to be a part of it. I think you have to be a member of the exchanges to be able to like trade that stuff. I have a higher level of broker access. I think you have to create a fund or an institution in order to deal with those debt swaps and things. And a lot of it is totally dark pool. You don't see the trades. They don't get reported. They just every once in a while, once a quarter, be like, yeah, we have this. That's our liabilities. And then just don't tell you exactly what those liabilities are because they're not publicly traded companies necessarily. So they don't have to tell you. That's the scary part is one of the things is that was mentioned as a rumor that Gary Gensler was going to open up for inspection that derivatives market. So we can see what piles of debt, what baskets of debt are being traded around in these swaps and by whom and when. So that we'd be like, oh, these guys took a whole bunch of shorts they made on XYZ company and they traded over here and they got in return a whole bunch of baskets of, ABC or whatever. And so we can kind of see now what's happening because we know that the bullet swaps that Archegos did are just prohibitively expensive. They're spending like $1 billion in just fees of maintaining those swaps right now. And it's eating away at Credit Suisse. It's eating away at Nomura. It's eating away at JP Morgan. It's eating away at Goldman Sachs. And it's eating away at, I can never remember the fifth one. Deutsche Bank? I don't know. One of those. I know the four of them. I don't remember what the fifth one was. And then remember, that's just one of thousands of family funds and hedge funds that are in the exact same position. So, man alive. Okay. Okay. Joshua Jimmy, thoughts on SBF, perhaps jail time? I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he lost a lot of rich people money, and You can lose poor people money all day long, but you cannot lose rich people money. Do Kwon's going to jail. My guess is SBF will go to jail as well for what happened on his exchange, FTX exchange. But I mean, the dude owes like he's got a zero net worth right now, and he owes like $600 million in debt. So he's screwed. I don't think he bounces back from this. I just can't imagine that 11 months ago he was worth $97 billion. $97 billion. $97 billion. And today he's worth negative 600 million. Oh. You know, from like the fifth richest person on earth to the poorest person on earth in 11 months. That will be world record Guinness Book forever. I mean, yeah, like Mark Zuckerberg's lost $100 billion, but he's still a billionaire, right? Elon Musk, I think, has lost $100 billion. He's still a billionaire. This dude lost $100 billion and he's nothing. He's not bouncing back from that at all. It's just, it boggles the mind. Like, we read the stories this spring about the dudes who had like $75 million in crypto, were using it as margin, got margin called and wiped out. Right? And it's like, dude, you got $75 million. Cash out. Cash out and just live a good life. You have $100 billion. My God. Of fake money. If you're going to create a crypto exchange and you're going to be worth $100 billion, what you do is you say, hey, I'm on the hunt for a buyer. Someone want to buy my exchange or take over as CEO, and then they get to run everything and get the blame, while you swing in a hammock, enjoy some warm water, go to the mountains and go skiing, sail on your super yacht. But no, you kept the Ponzi scheme going, and you are now worth negative 600 and whatever million dollars. It's just crazy. Blows my mind. Crystal, 1969, Yahoo.com. Unbelievable. The huge corporate layoffs happening right now before Christmas. Oh, yeah. There's a boatload of them happening. Just a whole bunch of them. It always happens before Christmas because the seasonal employment for the summer closes. You have a whole bunch of like retail hires that happen for the season at the shopping malls and stuff, but they aren't going to last very long. And construction slows down, so all the contractors and the construction guys get laid off. Yeah, the fall is, when the leaves fall off the tree, and they're shaking the leaves off the tree right now, so employment's going to thin out. Red redrift. Stop. Say denigrating. Working class. Work as in fear or as embarrassment, please. Bro, not cool. Who's doing that? Way long bettings. Did you brush up on the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit? Yeah, which one was Ripple versus SEC? Oh, this is the one against XRP, right? The this is the one. Yeah, the bank looks like the judge was tossing it, I think, or something, and the SEC is Renaming. So end of March next year should be the final judgment on it. And okay. So if SEC wins the legal dispute, XRP, the native cryptocurrency of the Ripple blockchain, will no longer be regarded as a currency in the US, but rather as a security. This might then establish a legal standard that leads to the classification of other cryptos like it as securities. Therefore, the lawsuit against Ripple is crucial for all parties involved in the cryptocurrency industry, including investors, developers, blockchain technology, and global lawmakers. Okay. I thought I'd read something like last week that the judge was going to throw it out or something, and then I guess not so. That we're looking at March 31st. This was this week. Okay. It will allow them to regulate much more stringently if that goes through. I don't know if it'll matter. I think crypto might be worth nothing by then. Might be too late. Might be ruling over its corpse in the graveyard. J.K. in Houston, good morning from New York City, and greetings to everyone. Question. New battery technology that looks promising is GMG or is it GMGF? Well, GMG is the name of the company, but GMGF is the ticker on the Toronto exchange that it trades on. That's the I think it stands for Graphene Manufacturing Group. Motherfucker, I don't know. I don't know what the MF stands for. But yeah, that's the ticker on the Toronto exchange, which you can invest in for them. Philip Clayton, have you seen interviews with Patrick Byrne on short selling? Seems like a clever guy who got stiffed by Ponzi Street. A, yes, he got stiffed by Ponzi Street. B, yes, he's a clever guy. C, he's lost his goddamn mind. I don't know if it's the fact that he got hammered by the shorts for so long and no one was paying attention to him. He's like, hey, the shorts are killing me. They're printing shares and they're illegally shorting and I'm going to prove it. And everyone's like, you shut up, crazy old man. Quit making things up. But he was right. But, you know, if you go so long and no one's listening to you, you kind of go bibbledy. And he went full, like, MAGA, let's storm the Capitol, come up with plans for martial law, bonkers. And he got the crypto dividend out there, which totally proved that there were tons of naked shorts and they got a squeeze out of it. And the price is now steady and holding strong. It's not being shorted anymore. But he's no longer in charge at Overstock. And they got photos of him at the White House holding documents outlining how they were going to enact martial law and do a coup. That's not how you want to end up. But I know someone who knows him, and they'll talk about how, like, you know, he was right, but he's also kind of crazy. So that someone might be in the chat right now to confirm that. So are you on the chat to confirm what a crazy pants Patrick Burns was? Yeah. Okay. Joshua Jimmy, are you picking up any calls for NOPEX? I may buy a few 30 or 35 strikes. I might pick up some. I'd payday. I'm gonna a couple of dollars to play with. I should have bought Tesla puts today. I was thinking, like, last night, I'm like, I should just put in an order for puts right now, and it's gonna drop. And it dropped $14, $15. Maybe it was like $20. It dropped a whole bunch. I would have made like $2,000 off of any put I bought, and just I didn't do it. I should have. Oh well. I think Tesla's got a lot further to go. I think people are starting to get a little tired of Elon selling, and he's gonna have to sell a lot. I mean, he sunk $44 billion into Twitter. He's going to couple $billion a year in interest. That doesn't count the $13 billion in principal. He had to put up like 40 billion in Tesla stock as collateral. And he lost a whole bunch of advertisers, and now the revenue is probably non-existent. The revenue was like 6 billion a year, and now the revenue might be 3. And they're already losing $1.5 billion a year. Now they're gonna be losing like $3.5 billion a year, plus whatever they don't have in advertising revenue that's gone now. So he's now 6.5 billion a year. So Elon's gonna have to sell 40 million Tesla shares a year just to keep Twitter afloat. Maybe 50 million, depending on if the price drops further. So, I expect people to be like, all right, you know what? I'm up 300% since I got a Tesla. I was up 500% at one point. Might be time for me to go enough Tesla. And then we're gonna start to see that car sales are dropping. Tesla won't, with the huge drop in Bitcoin prices, Tesla won't be able to rely upon their Bitcoin manipulations to carry over their earnings per share like they did in the summer. So I think Tesla's going to be a little bit in the red coming up. Redrift, because he said you'll have to succumb to working class work because you failed in life, is what I got from his crypto bros having to get jobs. Why did he only say fast food or restaurant work? Come on now. Because that's where you go when you don't have any money. Right? You've been out of the workforce for 3-4 years because you're crypto earnings, right? So you have a resume, right? In your employer, wherever you're going to apply, you're like, so why do you have this gap in your resume? And you say, oh, I was a crypto millionaire for a while. And they're going to be like, yeah, you're not working here. That's what's going to happen. So you're going to be relegated to working jobs starting at the bottom, man. People aren't going to hire crypto bros to be a banker. They're not going to hire crypto bros to be a vice president. They're not going to hire crypto bros to be an engineer at their firm. They just aren't. They're going to go, oh, you spent $600,000 on a monkey picture. I don't think I want you handling anything important. That's why. So you have to start at the bottom. You're going to wait tables. You're going to bartend. You're going to be doing Uber. You're going to be doing a lot of things that are going to be considered low skill or don't require years of experience. And that's just the way it is. Why? Because they're young. Most crypto bros are really young. They don't have the life experience to do highfalutin jobs. They just don't. So it's not a dog on working class folks. I'm a working class folk. It's just saying that you don't go from crypto bro millionaire to losing your mansion and your fancy McLaren and suddenly expect that you're going to make up for it by having a corner office as an executive VP somewhere. You're not. You're just not. And that's the reality of it. So, yeah. So, yeah. Arius Shadow, VW squeeze happened at 74% when Porsche announced they were buying the shares. So, with the GME announcing DRS shares every quarter, two things will happen. Either a squeeze will happen or they will dilute. Well, you have to remember also VW is a German stock, and German stocks don't allow naked shorting. So they were able to squeeze only like a 12% short interest. Whereas in the United States, you can print as many fake shares as you want for as long as you want, so long as you have market maker power. Or you can generate FTDs and then hide them into swaps. And that's the difference between VW and any squeeze play that's going to happen here. So we can have DRS at 100% and shares will still trade. Why? Because you can trade fake shares in perpetuity in the American system. The dilution's already happened. They've diluted 4 billion shares with fake shares in the US. That's where we're sitting. There may be some issues that happen when they DRS 100%. People keep trying to DRS. We may see some weird stuff happen there. Like 100% of shares have been DRS'd, and this guy is trying to DRS another 100,000 of them and cannot. You might see weird things happen there. But the VW squeeze is largely because they don't allow naked short selling in Frankfurt like they do here. And we shouldn't allow it here as well. Philip Clayton, GME will not dilute. No debt. NFT marketplace on the way. Yeah, they don't need to. They've got plenty of cash to play with. Lap 27, Houston, my birthday is the same day as yours, January 27th. So if the MOASS is on our birthday, you have to come to Peru and I'll have a drink with me. I would love to go to Peru. I do need to go to Ecuador too. I've got some buddies that live in Ecuador and I keep promising I'll visit them. And I've never been south of the equator, so I should go. Plus, I want to see the Nazca lines. I want to do a helicopter ride over the Nazca lines. That'd be fantastic. It says Minnow Johnson, the Vikings called Iceland to fool their enemies. That's what Greenland is called. Greenland, even though it's definitely not. Yeah, it was marketing. We call it Iceland. It's like, oh, I don't want to live there. And then you call the other one Greenland. So people are like, oh, you know what? It must be lovely there. It's green. And then they get to Greenland and discover that there's like no arable land. It's all ice. Haha, you avoided Iceland, you fools. Okay. Winter peg. Eric Voigt. AMC cost to borrow max today 314%, average 75% Ortex. What do you think of that? Marge Collin. That is creepy high. I don't understand the desperation you'd have to borrow a stock at a 75% premium just to borrow it. Then you watch it and the shares will drop. You're like, what? People borrowed that? And they're just, all they're doing is losing money right off the top. You need a 75% drop in the share price just to take care of your fee to borrow that share. That's crazy. Okay, I'm 15 minutes behind. Okay, Houston, houses dropped 200,000, but when it comes to build a house, you can't build a house for 100,000 due to everything being so expensive. Do you think lumber prices will drop too? Yes. Building materials are going to drop really big because there's going to be no demand. The one thing that's going to still be expensive is labor because of inflation. You have to pay the people who are working a higher wage than they did a few years ago. But contractors are going to take a huge cut on profit. They were charging, let's say, $150 a square foot for construction costs. They might have to drop it to like $50 a square foot if they want to win any contracts right now because no one's building. And there's going to be a huge competition to win these contracts. So the prices and bids are going to drop significantly. We saw it happen in 2008. My own town, bless their hearts. So the economy had bottomed out. Real estate market had bottomed out. Construction had bottomed out. In like 2011, 2012, they were like, hey, let's build a new police station since the current one is 50 years old, made for a town that had 1/50th the population. And the building is unreinforced cinder blocks. So if earthquake happens, there goes an entire first responders building. We should probably build a new facility. And they're like, okay, we're going to build it here. It's going to cost us $9 million. It's going to have a little courthouse attached to it. Because right now we're renting like a storage unit for the courthouse. It's really weird. So the municipal court and the police station, all new, modern. It can handle everything. And everybody went, oh, $9 million? But my taxes are going to go up by like $6 a year. I don't want to pay that. And I went to the meetings and I was like, just Just pay it. Because right now it's the cheapest you're going to have for construction costs probably in your lifetime. And just do it. Because the next time they're going to come to you begging for this, it's going to be like $40 million. And then your taxes are going to be 7 times what they are now. And they rejected it. They said, no, we're not going to build that police station for $9 million. Screw you. And then like 4 years later, 2015, 2016, they presented another option for the police station. And the price was $50 million. So it went from $9 million, 2011, 2012, 3-4 years later to $50 million. They just don't get it. So we still don't have a new police station. We've been talking about building over 20 years. And they've been in this crappy building. It's falling apart. And we could have had a new one for $9 million, which right now is just a drop in the bucket. We'd have had those loans paid off in no time. We could have taxed like 4 luxury homes and paid for that entire thing. So, in the coming years, when construction goes, because when interest rates are really high, that's when it kills the construction industry the most. Because people can't borrow to build. And so if you can't borrow to build, you just don't build, right? And you got a glut of all these spec warehouses. You got a glut of homes. You got a glut of commercial real estate, whether it's retail or like white collar office buildings. So no one's going to have any reason to build. At most, you might get some contractors in for like light remodel work when someone takes over a lease somewhere, but you're not going to get full on like, 8-figure construction projects for the next several years. You just aren't. So because no one's going to be wanting timber, no one's going to be wanting steel beams, no one's going to be wanting big HVAC systems, the price of these things are going to start to come down. Okay. Well, we're almost 2-hour mark. I'm 50 minutes behind in the chat. I'm going to scroll down. If I missed your chats, I apologize. I'll try to get to them Friday. If not, head over to Go Ask Houston. Throw the questions in there. People can ask and answer and make it like a Twitter / Discord alternative and get the yik yaks in. So if I missed chats, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, let's find some good. You guys are scrolling past a whole bunch of just conversations, so I'm trying to find one good one to end on today. What makes it easy to scroll past when it's a lot of conversations happening? Loftus asterisk, or Lofta S asterisk. Houston, hi. Do you think loyalty has any monetary value and can it be quantified? Yeah, there's definitely brand loyalty. So, like, I'm gonna go back to Twitter because it's the most recent example we have. When Elon paid $44 billion for Twitter, what he wasn't buying was the tech. He was buying the customer base. And that customer base has value because the entire business model of Twitter is to get eyes on advertisements. So as long as people are loyal to that platform and their eyes are hitting advertisements, you have a product to sell. And that product to sell is those eyeballs. So you're paying $44 billion for those users. And the users have a habit. They've got endorphin releases. They've got needs to market themselves using this platform. So they're getting something out of this platform as well. They're cracking jokes. They're learning things. They're harassing people. They're doing whatever it is they do. And the advertisers, they're selling hotels. They're selling movie tickets. They're selling television shows. They're selling get rich quick schemes. They're selling those crappy video games where, some idiot can't figure out how to like pull the pins out and the lava and the water drops on him and whatever. They're selling those things. So if you can capitalize on that loyalty, you can make a buttload of money off of it. If you can, say, create a cult of personality around someone, you can make a middling car company that's like not even the top 40 in the world in number of cars produced each year be worth more than all other car companies put together. Why? Because there's a loyalty behind that one person. So you can totally quantify that stuff. But once you get to the thermocline of trust, it's out the window. They gone. So if you cross the line and that loyalty is challenged or violated, people do not forgive. They're out. They're gone and they're not coming back. Ever. Even if you apologize, even if you try to sweeten the deal, they're like, I'm on to the next thing. I've changed my habits. I'm out of here. So if you violate the loyalty, then they're gone. I mean, look at Meta at Facebook, right? Facebook was originally like, hey, college kids, how about you connect with the other college kids your age around the world? So if you're in college, you can join Facebook. You'd have a .edu address. You can only post like 8 pictures. The memory was really small, but you could communicate with your friends from high school all over the place. And then they slowly built it out as they learned to navigate more and more people, and they started adding folks. And by like 2006, 2007, everybody was allowed to join Facebook, and it became one of the largest companies in the world. Right? They went public in 2012, 2013, like $17 a share. It shot up to hundreds of dollars a share. They were worth $1.1 trillion. And it turns out that Mark Zuckerberg broke the trust thermocline. It was discovered that he was selling information. He was allowing nefarious actors to steal information. He was allowing bots and far-right actors and nefarious individuals to like start arguments and attack people. You had white supremacist groups and Russians and all sorts of stuff just messing it up in there. And so a lot of folks just kind of, folks that used to spend 20 hours a week scrolling Facebook are down to like 2. A lot of people just left the platform. And rather than fix the issue that was bots and fascists and stealing people's identities and information, the solution that Zuckerberg came up with was, let's change the company name and become a 3D office simulator. Oh boy, office simulator, here we come. And everyone's like, I don't care. No one's signing up for new Facebook accounts. The ones that are there, they use it, way less than they used to. Trust thermocline is broken. They are a company on the downswing, and I'm not sure it can be saved. I'm not. Which is a bummer because I have like a lot of pictures and stuff stored on there, and I might have to just download them and figure out where else to put them. I logged into my Myspace account today for the first time in years, just to see if it still worked, and it does. I have a Myspace still. I think my Myspace is myspace.com/manoneners, and I logged in, and all my pictures, everything is just gone. I'd heard that there was some sort of data corruption and server farm went down or something. Everyone's pictures and everything are gone. So there's nothing on there. And there's no way to edit your profile. Not a one. So I can't add a new picture. And when I make a post, I can't add a picture in the post. So I'm not sure if at this point MySpace is a viable alternative to return to. We should have never left MySpace for Facebook, in my opinion. I loved the layout of MySpace so much more. Plus, you got to learn HTML in the process. And it kept out, like, boomers. So, the grumpuses that were our parents could never navigate MySpace. And cool. Awesome. We kept them off of there. But you know who did it right? Tom did it right. MySpace was huge for like a year and a half, 2 years. They were the thing. Facebook was starting to come on fast. Spencer had already died. And News Corp, Fox News, they bought it from him for $500 million. That dude took the $500 million bucks and has been living his best life ever since. News Corp absolutely torpedoed MySpace. They sold it for like $50 million, so they lost $450 million on the deal. Someone else bought it for like a couple of million after that, and it's just floating around there. Tom, you did it right, man. You did exactly what SBF should have done. You did exactly what so many others should have done. You went, you know what? $500 million is pretty comfy. I can take that. I can go live my best life. I can go water skiing. I can go to deserts. I can travel the world with my girlfriend or wife, and I can just live the good life. And I give tip of the cap to Tom from MySpace, and a wag on my finger to SBF and Do Kwon and the other guy, the A3 guy. Wag on my finger at him too. Okay. That might be it for me tonight. That's a good last question. Monkey Butt, well, I always ask, do you have anything to add? Want somebody to say goodbye? Monkey Butt? Oh, Monkey Butt. Come on, Monkey Butt. Come on. Come on, stretch it out. She's like, it's midnight. I don't want to get up. That's okay. You don't get up. You don't have to get up. You can just be a sweet little sleepy dog over there. You know, you're tired. All you've been doing is sleeping all day, so you have to sleep to recover from that. All right, everybody. I honestly don't know if I'll be able to see you Friday or not. I've got the rehearsal dinner for my friend's wedding, and Saturday is the wedding. I don't know if there's gonna be a Friday show. If there is, it might be unexpected. I don't know what time it's going to be, but if not, I'll see you Monday. I also get to pick up a whole friend of mine who works with old electronics is getting rid of like 100 pounds of old, really rich in gold motherboards, and I'm going to go collect them on Monday. I need to clean out the garage so I can grind these suckers up and just get all the gold out of them. So I go collect that on Monday. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. You guys were fun. We had some good chats today, didn't we? Yeah. It was fun. It was real. It was real fun. All right, everyone. Have a good night. I'll catch you when I catch you. Yeah, baby. That's what we got. Secret agent from the future.